Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a happy Wednesday. I'm coming to you a little bit early this week because February gets perforated by a lot of holidays, honoring various presidents, and tomorrow is a state holiday. And so we're trying to move things up a little bit this week. Although I had hoped, losing track of the fact that tomorrow is a state holiday, I thought, finally, I'll be back at home to do the video, but not this week. I'll keep trying. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening now in the process. We have officially begun session, of course, and now we're in the early parts of the committee process and committees' initial meetings after lots of office hours for committees to talk to all the members about what's happening, what we expect to happen, and what their requests are. These first committee meetings often are focused on what's called raising titles or raising concepts, which means often they're a list only of titles. And it is, the conversation when we raise those, sometimes it's very quick voting on them, but we have a lot of, somebody will usually talk about the fact that these are just concepts, and a vote in favor of them does not mean you support the underlying policy, but that you believe in having lots of conversations, including conversations about things that you disagree with. So in the Environment Committee, it had its an initial meeting this morning, and one of the concepts is one that I don't agree with. Maybe more than one, but at least one that I'm familiar with very particularly. But having a conversation, having talked to the leaders of the committee, I understand what they're doing. I understand that there's enough viewpoints on the issue that it's worth airing it out and allowing a lot of the opinions to come out, and maybe we will emerge with some more clarity about the issue, and maybe it actually will end up being better for the view I'm inclined to take sitting here today. But the importance of having the conversation and for voting to have the conversation, even though it's you might disagree with or it might be uncomfortable for you, there is always a temptation to sort of sweep stuff aside and do it so you don't have to have those conversations, and that is almost always the wrong thing to do. Sometimes there's urgency and reason to act quickly, but most of the time it is important to check that instinct and have that conversation. So again, I voted today to raise all the concepts on the list today, even though some of them I don't like particularly much, or some of them, others will be fleshed out. They are, again, often just titles saying, a particular issue we will be looking at. So it matters, and it's important to know what's on people's minds, what's being worked out in the, lobbyists are working the hallways, they're talking to committee leaders, and we need to pay attention to what they're talking about and make sure that we can put together people on, both sides of an issue to actually flesh it out for us. So it's, it matters. And also I will note participation matters. So the fact that we see this on an agenda will raise a little tickler in the calendar for later on when we have a hearing on a bill on that issue, to make sure that I am joined by many of you in testifying on that particular topic. So again, state holiday tomorrow, long weekend this weekend, hopefully a little less chilly than last weekend. So I hope you're able to get a long weekend and enjoy some maybe nicer weather. Take care.